What's going on, Bass Heads? Welcome back to Live Rippers TV. I'm sure you're wondering, what the hell am I doing, right? Well, I'm not on the water, so I'm going to be doing a new segment each week. Kind of like my old, quick tip of the week that I used to do. But I'm going to call it Bass Class. So basically it's going to be it's a 5 to 7 or 8 minute segment once a week to help with, tips, strategies, my overall opinions on things and how I use baits and just different tactics, things like that, and things to help you be a better fisherman and help you catch more bass. I'm not a pro by any means, but I do know some stuff that you might not know, and you might know stuff that I don't know, and why not all? Let's just teach each other stuff and catch more fish. That's what we're all here to do anyway. So, but I'm going to call it Bass Class, and this is the first episode of that series. So, go ahead and get into it. Today, I'm going to be discussing spinnerbaits versus chatterbaits. Now, both extremely effective baits. I mean, extremely effective. I've caught monster bass on both, and it's just one of those deals where it's not necessarily a preference thing, but it's a conditions thing, for me anyway. When I'm fishing around more grass and pads, things like that, I like to go with a chatterbait. And I mean, and these things are killer, man. They really are. And over the years, and like when I was a kid, you could just go out there with a spinnerbait all day long and you were going to catch a limit of fish, and they might be big, they might be small, but you were going to catch fish. Over the past 5 to 10 years, the spinnerbait bite has just been not as good as it used to be. And I don't know if it's because the constant of seeing it all the time, or constantly just so much fishing pressure, or just not, you know what I mean? Just it's been a staple for years, but it's just I've noticed that it has been declined in bites over the years. But there's been days where I've whacked them on it, and I still throw it all the time because it's still a staple. But the chatterbait, since that come out, I mean, that thing has been a killer. It really has. I like to take mine and trim up, and that depends on the forage and where I'm fishing and things like that. But if I'm using the regular, I like to use a 1/2 ounce chatterbait, because I like to be able to control the depth. If I want to slow it down, I can, but I let it sink and roll, slow rolling it a little more. That you can't do it as much with a 3/8. So I don't like using a 3/4 too much, because they're too heavy and they drop too fast. You either have to burn it, or it's just too much for me. I don't like using those ones, but 1/2 ounce just seems to be a perfect size for me. And I like to trim the skirt up a little bit, and I like to use a Lake Fork Magic shad on the back. And it's been a killer for me, and it's just been a great bait. Now, that's made by Z-Man. Now I like to, that's all the chatterbaits I throw with Z-Man. So in the spinnerbaits, I'm a huge fan of like KVD spinnerbaits, Strike Kings, and War Eagle. I love a War Eagle spinnerbait. I actually like them better than Strike King spinnerbaits. I don't know why. I just think that they go through the water column better. I think they have a little bit more flash. The head's flashier. I actually lose less fish on it without a trailer hook. I don't know what they do differently, because the hooks kind of look the same. It's got a little bit of a bend to it, but it's overall a great spinnerbait. I just love the way they go through the water. But for me, on high bluebird days and things like that, the spinnerbait, the sunny and stuff, the spinnerbait does not do as well for me. And it has to be more of a, cloudy, a little bit of breezy, chop on the water. If it's slick calm, I ain't throwing it, because it's just not gonna work. It doesn't work for me as well. I'm not saying you can't catch a fish on it, because you probably can if you throw it all day long, and you might catch one on slick water. But when it's going through that water column and it's slick, it looks just like this, and I think they don't like that. So when the water is choppy, it kind of breaks up the silhouette, and I think it kind of gives a little just of a flash And obviously muddy water, it's a huge deal for it. But then you got the chatterbait. Muddy water, awesome, because it throws off a pile of vibration. And you know the bass, when it's muddy, they use that lateral line more than anything because they can't see. So in sunny days, I've pads, things like that, and it's just like this color when I'm going through the water looks like a shad. Now you got your black and blues, your green pumpkins, your bluegill color. I've got all of them. Chartreuse and whites, you know, black and blues. I've got all of it. But it's really, you can kind of adapt. You can do the same thing with spinnerbaits, but if I have to pick one of these to go out with, it's really hard because I've won tournaments on chatterbaits alone. I've won tournaments on spinnerbaits alone. The only difference between the two is I caught my PB on a spinnerbait, and a 9.3, which you'll see it right here.
It's a giant. Oh my God, it's a giant. It's a giant. Stay on, baby. Stay on, baby. Stay on, baby. Stay on. Oh, stay on. Stay on.
It's just, I don't know. It's just been, they're both, it's hard. It's really hard. So, I don't know. I really don't know if I can make that decision. But they're both extremely effective baits. I think I get bit more off of a chatterbait than I do a spinnerbait. But I catch big fish on chatterbaits too. Last year I caught a 7.5 and a 5.5 in the same day. I caught more than that, but in the same day on a chatterbait. That's a pretty good amount of weight right off the bat. I caught like 15 fish that day, but those are the two biggest. You know, there's some 3-pounders and some 4-pounders in there as well. So it's just, it was a great day. Everything on a chatterbait. It's just one of those things. It's just, I don't know. I would have to say, if I had to pick, gun to my head, I'm gonna go with the chatterbait. It's just so much more versatile than a spinnerbait, and it's, you can still slow roll spinnerbaits and things, but you can take this, you can burn it, you can run it through things that you can't run a spinnerbait through. You can run it down by brush, trees, laydowns, whatever, grass, lily pads. You can throw it out to the bottom, sink it like a jig, rip it up, let it sink back down. Rip it up, let it sink back down. And it's just so much you can do with it. Slow roll it, and as you slow roll, it's still throwing off a pile of knocking vibrations. But that's just my personal opinion. Hopefully it helps you catch more fish. Now, setup wise, I personally use the same setup for both. I like medium heavy action rod. I like a set. I got a 7-foot phenom I use for both my chatterbait and my 7-foot phenom for my spinnerbait. Both Enigma rods, just the Phenom Titanium series, and they're great. I love them. They got plenty of backbone to pull the fish out of stuff, and they got enough sensitivity that you get plenty of action out of what you're using it for. So, and I like to kind of gear mine with a little bit of a faster reel, like a 7.3-to-1, just because I can control that depth. And this is for both. I can slow it down, and you don't have to worry about, you know, fatigue as much. You can slow it down, do less work, you know, smarter. So that's just my personal opinion, and I hope it helps you catch more fish. So hopefully you guys enjoy this new segment. I think it's going to be a good thing for y'all as well as me. Leave a comment down below, like it, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, share the video. Let's get this channel up and growing. We're up to 97 subscribers, I think, now. So I want to keep growing and growing and growing and get this thing up and going, guys. So I appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time. Be a bass head. Peace.